Hey, Craig, let's get into some coffee talk.
Hey, I love it. I love doing some coffee talk.
Well, talk about what?
Dogs, daughters, whatever. It's coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
The coffee talk. Craig, welcome back, my man.
Oof.
You've been gone for a spell there.
Yeah. Went away with my son. Did some boogie boarding for the last 2 weeks.
Mexico.
Beautiful. Mexico.
How was
Yeah.
it there?
Well, we got a place out in the middle of nowhere because I thought it'd be a great idea to be off the grid.
Yes.
Well, there was no AC and it was about 95 degrees.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you presented that idea to your wife, what did she say?
Oh,
Did
well,
she say
she
that's a
wasn't
great
fine.
idea? Or
She,
no. I know that, but I'm saying, did she have an opinion on you doing that?
There's always an opinion, Jason.
Right, right. Was her opinion correct?
Of course it was. It always is.
I love it. And then what happened halfway through that?
Well, so after when we first got there, she said the woman who owned it said, "Oh, and at night it's warmer than it is during the day." I thought, what? How's that even possible? I mean, we're on the beach, but it literally was hotter at night. And so after I got food poisoning and the water went out, it was time to leave. It was time to leave. So we packed up in shame, left the Airbnb, and went to a all-inclusive resort in town, which was very, very reasonably priced because of the vid.
Right.
Huh.
So you're back now, and we had a big week this week. We had David DeFord on
Yeah.
the old podcast. Final expense selling, man.
Final expenses and a couple books he has.
Yeah. And so I wanted to talk to you about this because I was talking to another agent about this, and it's funny. Like actually, I was talking to our staff about this, our sales team,
Yeah.
and when you're in a desperate place, it's very hard to sell. Like if you're in
Yeah.
that place where you have to sell and you start getting desperate. That's why, when salespeople go in and out of selling, the magic of when they are selling is they're on cloud nine. They have this aura about them. They sound so positive and like it's no big deal. Like they don't sound desperate.
Right.
When you are desperate, it sounds like a different thing. And when we were talking to David, he was talking about that, about not, have more leads and more of a pipeline coming in than almost that you can handle. And
Right.
I thought,
Commission breath. Didn't he say
yeah,
commission breath?
he said commission breath. You need to not be desperate.
Right.
You know,
100%. I just upped our leads. We're doing 500 a day because it's better to have too many than too few, right?
Yeah.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse for getting the quotes, for just getting it done. Because if you have the front end of the funnel is full, like overfloweth, right? Because you're eventually going to get to them. That's our equity anyway, right? We're going to
Yeah.
get to those leads. So I don't really care. Only 10% are going to answer. So that's 50. We got 50 that are going to answer. And we're going to be able to quote a day out of the 500. The other 450 are all equity. Eventually, we're going to quote them.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
it's crazy to think about how desperate you can sound. I was just talking to another agent actually yesterday, and he was talking about, that this is kind of a different subject, but it'll come back. But he was talking about how he's friends with all the agents down where he is. Everybody's kind of negative. No one's doing well. They're looking at the past, and I don't know if you've heard this before. I mean, I'm newer in the industry, only 4 years, so it's like I've heard this from older agents that have been doing this longer than 4 years, which I know is incredibly not long. So it's incredibly short. But they were saying, there's like this pride thing in insurance where it's like, I don't buy leads. It's like it's bad to buy leads. They have this thing that's like it's a bad thing. Oh, I don't buy the leads. And I'm thinking to myself, what business owner is proud about not investing in their business? Like, what a weird thing to be
Yeah.
proud about. And it was kind of a negative vibe that he was saying that some of the other agents have, and I've heard it before. But then it made me think about this podcast and how he said, you got to make sure that you have a ton of leads coming in so you don't get that desperation. And I started, he asked me some advice and I said, dude, it's a crazy. So when you start investing, you think you're just going to get these leads, right? But there's a lot that comes with that. One is your agents start acting different. They realize like they're starting to quote more. They're more excited. When you're in that desperation mode, you start feeling stressed out, and then you're come on guys, you got to sell. Then they're under the pressure, and then they're not happy, and it's like this whole negative vibe that goes with that. But when you're like investing in yourself, and everybody's doing good, I mean, dude, the culture's so much more fun. Not to mention that what do people do when they take money out? Like, let's say you make an extra 200,000 this year. You can't put it in the bank. You're gonna invest it, right? What? Probably on the market or something, right? And then people take cuts of that, right? So you're investing it in other businesses. To me, and call me naive or whatever, I don't care. But why would I invest in somebody else's business and bleed my business to do so? That is, to me, the stupidest thing I think anybody could do. Why wouldn't you reinvest in your own business, not pay the taxes of taking the money out of it, and invest in your own business so that you can build the snowball so big that you don't even have to sweat the small stuff?
Right. And that's where that's where I feel like I've gotten to. I think that's where you've gotten to, where, when we get asked like, oh, should I spend this much a day or this much? It's like, I don't really care, man. I don't look at I look at the bigger picture. If I buy 500 and it costs me 1,500, well, you know what? I'm going to get back 4,500 because it just works, right?
Yep.
Once you have the machine humming along, it all falls into place. I don't worry about all the little costs and try to save $1 here or $1 there. It doesn't matter. The machine starts working. If there's higher costs, well, then you know what? Less taxes and chalk it up to learning. But you can't make a decision on whether or not your leads are working in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You need 60, 90 days, right? I mean, big companies don't make a move based on some marketing strategy they invested in last week. Right. They go with it for 6 months or a year, and they're like, okay, this thing costs $1 billion. It didn't work. Now we got to change direction. But you don't put your toe in.
No.
It isn't going to work. And that's what I love about having it set up this where we buy leads, because you can quantify. I know, I know we have the analytics of how many contacts did we get off those leads, how many quotes did we get off the contact. It makes it so simple when you're talking about it in the way that you talked about it before, like where they don't buy leads. Well, how do you even track it if you're not buying leads? Right. I mean, it's just anecdotal, observational information, right? Oh, well, I have 10 loan officers and they're sending me some stuff. Well, yeah, but there's no guarantee to that flow. Like, we pay money, in exchange for that money, we have a guaranteed amount of data that's coming in that then gets processed, right?
Yep.
That data turns into, it was 7 calls, and that 7 calls resulted in a contact. 7 of the contacts resulted in whatever, right? Some numbers that tells us then what our acquisition cost is, and it's beautiful. Like, it takes all the rocket science out of the thing, and I'm not smart enough to track stuff if it's not easy to track.
Yeah. I think the moral of this, in going into the weekend, what to think about is take your head out of the weeds, which, gosh, my head gets
somewhere else.
my head gets in the weeds so much, and I'm like concentrating on what affects now and this week, and don't take your head above the trees and look down and look at the big picture. Look at the big picture. If you're not spending your time on what's going to help you in a year or two, then you're just going to keep creating the same results. If you're just doing today what it takes to get to the next day, then you really don't have a GPS at that point.
Right.
And you're just going to keep creating what you already have, which is cool if that's what you want to do. But if you really want to your business to go further or whatever, is dude, you gotta figure out a plan. You gotta invest in yourself. Invest in yourself.
And
Mr.
take a
Craig.
chance, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what business is. It's a bunch of strategic bets and in anticipation that it will lead to something. It's not a guess. You're not just throwing a dart at it, but you're also are making a bet, right? You're making a bet that if you spend this $15,000 this month, in 90 days you're going to get 45,000 back.
Yep.
And that's what it is. And sometimes you don't, and you survive. You're going to live.
Yep.
Right? Because the ones that you lose, that's okay, because you're going to make it up for the ones that you do win. But once you find the one that wins, and I know that I found the one that wins for me, and it's only because of the activity, right? Like buying some lead is no better than somebody else buying some lead somewhere else. It's just that I've called them 60 times. Perseverance pays off.
Yep.
And then what it also does, not to beat a dead horse, is it allowed for me to go to Cabo with my son for 2 weeks, and all I had to do on a daily basis, which even pissed him off because it took me 20 seconds, but I wasn't focused, was, oh, how many leads came in? Good 300. How many? I just would look at the numbers because I'm OCD like that. I had to at least just see the numbers. But you know what? I really didn't need to. I just like to. But it allowed for that, and it worked. And we still wrote whatever, 55,000 or 60,000 while I was gone. I mean, I'm clearly unimportant to this whole thing. Now that it's set up, which is great, right? You want to be unimportant,
Right?
The closing,
I think that's a great coffee talk and something to think about over the weekend. Coffee talk.
Have a powerful weekend.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I don't even know other P words. Cool. Everybody subscribe to this, please. We need more subscribers. Subscribe to this. Check it out on the tubes of you, the tunes of I.
Yeah.
Or dude, whatever, man.
You're going to hear the extended plays on all of the different audio podcast places, like what is there? Spotify, iTunes, all those things. The Googlers, whatever, all of that, and now Amazon, where we just submitted to be on Amazon, so that's pretty cool. But then you'll get the little micro plays, like little tidbits of delight over on YouTube. Plus, you get to look at us, which I don't know if that's a good thing.
I know. All right, that's good.
We'll see.
It's a coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle, coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.